Hi, my name's Adam Edwards, and this is the first instructional tape after the demonstration. Please watch the tape and see everything, or listen to everything that I had to say. It's all important. I know listening can be boring, but please hear it through. And again, if you're going to use this, you do it at your own risk. I can't be held responsible if you're injured. Last time I compared the swing of the arm on this bag to a baseball bat. I was just viewing another film we didn't take where it seemed harder, but I'm not in my prime now. I'm battling a sickness. I'm walking on amputated bone. I've hit hard enough that hitting like this, the bone right here fractured. That's like stomping your foot hard enough. It was on a water bag to crack your shin. You can develop this much power if you listen to everything I say and trust me. A lot of things are going to seem crazy. They're going to seem like we're going right off of what boxing teaches about staying in a shell, about counter punches when your arms are extended. Everything will fall into place. My work very closely matches, and I studied intensely, a work by Jack Dempsey, the all-time great Jack Dempsey, called Championship Boxing. He's very hard to understand because the terms he uses, they're not from physics, but it took me a long time to understand him, and everything he says is right. I've taken the work a step further. If you want to know the specific area, he said that a punch based on rotation and a punch where you're throwing your weights in right behind your arm, the two cannot be perfectly mixed, and it can be. Anyways, let's start out. The first point I want to make, now I'm going to run through a few points. I will be explaining these in more detail, is the limit of flexibility. Watch, as I rotate my body, my arm gets caught here, and it's picked up by the rotating body. I turn my body, it's caught by the limit of flexibility. And the arm swings very much like a rope on a string. This isn't working well. It's a device for something else. It explains centripetal force and how to increase centripetal force. But how we're going to incorporate this and other things like pressure and release and combining the two, that will come in later. So here's one limit of flexibility where we catch the arm and then it's hit. But here's a better one for our purposes. Move the arms down like this. Here, if I rotate the body, it gets caught by the rib cage and then begins to swing. It can't lift any higher because it will either bend my body forward or it will dislocate the shoulder. So this is the position, and there are reasons that I'm using this one. Or you could swing your body. At this stage, it's something like doing a judo throw on your arm. You're throwing your arm, not a person. Like that. Then angle. The muscles in the arm are so weak compared to the body that they're just good for holding your arm in the net. Now from here, I'm going to introduce something called the follow-through. Again, don't worry about where the elbow starts. Don't worry about where the punch finishes. Let me explain something. This is very weak. A proper swing, that has power. This is very weak. If I swing my arm like this, that is very weak. If I swing through, that's where I get power. Now if I build this into a primitive punch, you can keep your hand open to feel the shock waves in your finger. Keep the hand open and just throw the arm. And let it, after full extension, just let it go through. This problem will solve itself saying you're not supposed to have your arm out here, and you're definitely not supposed to let it follow through where you're open to a counter punch. All of this will work out on its own. We're building this in steps. So we have the limit of flexibility. We've shown how in this area, if you consider your knuckles to elbow as an arrow, put it in the net, and then just from here, throw it. It feels like you have a slingshot built into your body. Where it's going to want to go is the arm. It's going to want to go right out here. That's because if I swing my arms like this, they want to go here. This is the maximum displacement from the axis, or the center of the swinging. So it's going to want to go here and follow through. But you can get incredible speed, or you can call it, you apply force and get acceleration. Now, Jack Dempsey, as I said, he wrote that he never went into the use of nets or other things like pressure and release. But what he described as a pure punch, which is something that's going to move even if it doesn't hurt. It'll knock an opponent's back and blind and leave him blind. But it has a long history of work. Dempsey wrote about the lost art of power punching. He was from the very old days. So again, I'm just going to wrap up what we've gone through. Catching it in limits of flexibility, throwing your arms. Just throw them. Don't worry about where they start or where they're finished. We're worried about developing power. It will all come into play. Now we move into this limit of flexibility. When we throw here, or put the knuckles here, it's going to want to come out here. Eventually, it's going to want to move somewhere else. But we have a lot of changing to do on this. So it's the third time I've tried to do an introduction. Please, I found in my teaching experience, I do the best with people who have experience. Sometimes this material can be very hard for beginners, but stick with it. Trust me, everything here is right. Anyways, thanks, and I will be back next time to show you the next steps and go through what we've been through. Thank you.